If I'd have held on to those houses today, they'd probably be worth 3 million bucks. And
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Get Diversified. I'm your host today, Jacqueline Landry. My other half is upstairs in his office, but I have a very special guest and a trusted partner. His name is Kep Kepner. He is a senior partner at Kepner CPA and the founder of MindSmart. So, Kep, welcome to the show, and thank you so much for being on.
Jackie, thank you for having me on. I've known you for quite a while and just very happy to participate.
It's before I turned gray or blonde.
Before you turn gray, yes.
And I believe you had a little bit more hair. But let's get right into this
Now
because
you have to rub it in. Okay.
let's get right in this because I've known you for a long time, Kep. And so I want to start with this question. How has real estate played a part in your financial life?
So my story's a little interesting and different than a lot of people. When I was faced with the idea of how to put my kids through college and leave them without college debt, we didn't have all the plans that are available today, 529 plans and other kinds of plans for college. So my plan was to buy rental houses and sell them off as my kids went to college to pay for their college. So my first venture into real estate, I ended up owning about 7 or 8 houses. They were all rental properties in parts of Dallas. And I followed my plan. At the end of the day, when my kids were going to college, I sold those off kind of one at a time and used the profits from the real estate to fund their college education. So it was great for me at that time. I also, at the time, learned that I'm not very good at being a landlord. And so I needed somebody, which I had some person to help me, but it would have been better off, if I'd have held on to those houses today, they'd probably be worth 3 million bucks. And so, but my kids might have had college debt also. So I'd make my choice as a father first and a real estate investor second. So that was my first foray into real estate. And I've been very active in building my accounting practice. And later we'll talk about MindSmarts, my advisory work relating to brain health. So more recently, I've invested in rental real estate. I live in a high-rise condo that's kind of iconic in Dallas. And in addition to our own home there, I also own 2 other units which operate as rental properties for me. So my approach is a little different at my circumstance, and I'm working very hard to pay off those units so that they're free and clear and bringing in rental income. So I'm kind of like a 2-time investor. In between, I was building my accounting practice. So today, probably my net worth is equally distributed between my current rental, my current real estate, and my tax and accounting practice. So that's my story. You didn't know all that about me, did
Did
you?
not. I did not. That's amazing. And it's amazing that in a few, how long have you been investing in these other 2 units?
Probably about 4 or 5 years,
And how long have you been investing in your business?
for 35, 40 years.
Okay. Interesting.
Are you trying to make a point, Jackie?
Yeah, well, it's just interesting and how it's kind of, 50-50 when you look at your net worth.
Yeah, it's how it is now, but it's really true. If I had had a different strategy early and had held on to those properties, then they would have been probably worth $3 million as a group today. So I'm not disappointed in my strategy. I had a strategy at work to get my kids through college and without any kind of college debt. So I'm happy with the choices I made there. And now is now, then is then. So
Got
yeah.
it. Got it. So let's talk a little bit more about these 2 rentals that you have. Why are you trying to pay them off? Is it to leave them to your kids so that you can just take them out and have the equity?
So in my case, it's uh, I'm planning for the way my future is going to look for myself and my wife. So I'm thinking about the way her life might be. I'm liable to be the one to kick the proverbial bucket before she does. And if I'm the one that does that, I want things that work for her the way she lives and views life. And so that's my reason for that. I've
Got it.
also found, just in general, when people become a little bit older, they become, I don't want to say risk averse because I'm not that way, but they do have a tendency to want to lower any kind of debt that they have. I think that's normal. I know back in the big bust, the stock market bust in 2009, people were saying, oh, well, take out a second on your home and put all the money in the .com stocks. And that was poor advice then because the market crashed. And I think for many people, I look at people now in my CPA practice who are clients who are retired, but they still have a big house payment for their own house.
Yeah.
And so, everybody's got to live somewhere. And so they're paying what's equivalent of rent. And, but I think as a rule, when people get a little bit older, their tendency is to become debt free. So that's the way I think about things. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
my influence on it.
So it's interesting. There's usually two schools of thought. One is get as much good debt as possible, which would be mortgage. And the other school of thought is try to pay that all off. Right. So
I don't think they're really inconsistent. I think that mortgage debt, I've got mortgage debt, okay, on both the rental units that I have. I don't on my home. So I think that that's good debt. It's not credit card debt. It's not car payments. It's none of that stuff. And it's secured. So if the worst thing happens, then there's real estate to back up the mortgage. I just think that having just be very strategic about your own life because everybody's goals are differently. Obviously, I know something about your numbers and the kind of opportunities you offer people. And I think that really depends on whether those meet the needs of that particular person and it's the investor. So it is really important for anybody investing in real estate to have somebody like you involved in their real estate life, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because real estate is complicated and a lot of people don't understand it. I can assure you a lot of people that are clients of mine, they may understand their own business, but that doesn't mean they understand real estate.
Yeah.
So it's really important for people to have that somebody in their back pocket who understands that world.
Yeah. It was interesting because a few days ago, somebody was talking about financial freedom and what that means to everybody, right? So financial freedom, sometimes I say, oh, well, we're working our way towards financial freedom. And somebody will say, oh, well, I just need $1,000 a month or $3,000 a month to be financially free. So depending on who you talk to, it means different things, right? So Melvin and I have a very lofty goal of how we want to live from here on, like the remaining time that we have here on Earth. So that's what we're striving for in the next year. I would say a good 3 years of building it, and then really be able to live that lifestyle that we want. So it's similar to yours with like these two rentals, right? Your strategy is, hey, let's pay these off, and if something ever happens to you or vice versa, the other person can have this rental income in to be able to live the life that you or your wife would want to live. So that's a strategy as well.
I think it is. I think there's a part of it that's very much individual. And I know you, and I know you have very lofty goals. And when I think about my clients, my best clients are the ones that have high goals. And so their definition of financial freedom is not going to be $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Theirs is going to, and in life, there are no guarantees, of course. And people who are working for the government, when we're facing a shutdown 2 days from now, they're thinking their whole life, well, I've got financial freedom because I've got a job that nobody can take away from me. And maybe that's not the case after all. So
Yeah.
I think that it depends on the people. And I have clients who, like I say, retired and still having a house payment. I've got other people that are involved in all kinds of business decisions, and it has to do with the way they see their life looking in the future and now. I've
Yep.
never been one to live in the past. I've never been one to live totally in the future.
Jacqueline and Melvin, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to listen to this episode of Get Diversified. Please make sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes. Finally, stop by our website and follow us on social media. Ciao for now. Make it a great day, and we'll see you next time. And remember, get diversified.